Good Erev Shabbos, everybody. I hope you're well. I hope you had a wonderful Pesach. A Pesach of where you recognize what is freedom, and hopefully you'll be zoicha soon. That hopefully by now, as I speak, b'shiato bizmanoi, b'kavua hazeh, we will be already in the Geulot Hamitot V'Shleimo. We're already with the Rebbe Melech HaMashiach, Hemachenu Kol Beit Yisrael. Yisrael. As unfortunately we see in the world today, that for the first time in history, if not mistaken, that there was an attack in Kashmir, which is north of India, and we can see that President Trump, who says to his people that he's going to bring peace to the world, he will not. That the war between Ukraine and Russia will continue. The war between Israel against its enemies will continue. The war now between Iran and between Pakistan and India will continue. So the question is, you might wondering, why is that? And why is that giving us into a introduction? I should be really talking about the mile of the Parsha. What is Shmiני? Shmiני is above nature. Shmiini is where we recognize that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is above nature. Zog the question and ask. 1 minute, but we find in the Chumash in Parashat Bereshis. Bereshis bara Elokim eis hashamayim ve'eis ha'oretz. In the beginning, Hashem created the heavens and the earth. As we know from the Gemara in Kedushin. Anilo levresi ele leshamesh es keni. I wasn't created only to serve my master. As we know, also in this week is the first week of Perkei Avos. We're gonna start. Hopefully soon we're gonna come to the Perek Bishvili Nivra Olam. As we know, we start Moshe Torah Kimon Messina Misora. And Moshe Rabbeinu got the Torah from Mount Sinai. As we see from over here, the ability that we have, the willingness that we are here to be zoicha, as we say in the Milo of Yom Tov, Asher bochabonu mikol advachatonu mikol ha'amim, or after Oisonu v'oitzisa bonu, as we find in ourselves the Milo over here. We say in the Mishnah Alepek al Moshe Kibbutz Messina and Misor Yeshua Yeshua is Canaan and Nevi'im. So we have to understand what can we learn from Pesach. What can we learn that unfortunately Mashiach hasn't come? What can we do? What can we learn from Achon Pesach? How can we put in ourselves? How can we provide in this Parsha that unfortunately we will fall, that we'll be ready in the Geulot Hamitot V'Shleimo. We're ready in the Beis HaMikdash. We're ready in Yerushalayim HaKodesh. We're ready eating, as we said in the Medrash, in the Shabbat from Rabbah, in the Gemara in Sanhedrin, in Gemara in Bava Basra, Daf Ayin Hey, or that Omar be Rabbi Yehuda ben Rabbi Yochanan, or Levi Yotzon, HaKadosh Baruch Hu also letzadikim. That our HaKadosh Baruch Hu will make a feast, and he brings from Rabbah, the Gemara brings, and the Rabbah brings from the Gemara. So obviously this is Rabbah who also made the commentary of the Talmud of the Zoya. But we see from Talmud of Rashbi, but we see from here, or three Rabbah, we see from here, the whole Rabbah Menachem and Nachmani, Rabbah Mavor, and Rabbah Ba'abba, I believe. I think there's a few Rabbah, I forgot the third one. But we see from here that we have to understand, we have to tell ourselves, utilize. What is the Parsha of Shmini talking about? What is the Shmini that we know in the Torah, that the Torah is Torah? Torah is a lesson to each and every one of us. How can we learn from the Torah? Everything that's happening today is based from the Torah. Math, science, English, geography, anything, astrology, everything from the Torah. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us, because HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us a nation because He loves us, because He cares for us, because He finds us special, like that, and among other nations. But we have to remember, we have to realize that we have the power, the foundation to do. As we know, unfortunately, in this week we can't listen to music because of Soime. And what's so bad that we have to know stop music? And obviously the Rebbe Melech HaMashiach explained in the Sikha in his talk that from the Gemara Yevamei Samach Beis Amud Aleph, Lo Yehono Kover LeTorah Zeh Lo Zeh. As Rashi explained, they didn't respect each other Torah. What did that mean? It means like this. Let's say I have an opinion how I dress myself in toilet. And then another person, they fought for each other. They killed each other. They felt your Peshita is wrong. Your Peshat is wrong. My Peshat is right. They didn't respect each other's opinion. Eilo ve'eilo divrei Elokim chayim. So the question is, why is everybody saying we have to increase of Ahavas Yisrael? And let me tell you something, they're mistaken. Ahavas Yisrael applies every day. But when is the timeline for the mitzvah of Ahavas Yisrael to be even more? It's not now. There's two types of Ahavas Yisrael. There's a type of Ahavas Yisrael which is called Ahavas HaChaverim, which you make friends, which you not sinners chinam. And then there's the Ahavas Yisrael when it comes to the Torah, when it comes to the Pnimius. So we are on the level of Pnimius. We are still on the level of Atzevet Silocha. That is for you. That Shavuot, Shvish Pesach with Achash Pesach is still part of the Pesach Yom Tov, but it comes with a new theme. It's not like Shemini Atzeret, which is a completely different Yom Tov. But Sukkot Tetzah has Yomim, and then you go Bashuyim Shemini Atzeret Yolachem. Shvish Pesach, that's what he says. Sheish Yomim Nechel Matzois. And that's explained in the Likud Torah is Mamon. But we see from over here that Milo of Shmini is above nature. And what is the beginning of the Pasha? And obviously we know this is referring to Shivas Yemei Meloyim. As we know in the Minag, on the 8th day after the building of the Mishkan, we know that that's when they started to bring in the Kabbalah. So the question is, why can't they start on the 7th day? What's so significant about the 8th day? We find the 8 days of Milah. We find the 8 days of Yom Tov, Shemoneh Atzeres. What is the mile of 8 of the 8? So somebody said to me today in Shul, the mile of Sheminis. Now, the mile of Sheminis is referring to the mile of Arya Golus, which only going to be revealed when Mashiach will come. And that Neshama based on the Sheminis alive today. And that Neshama is higher than the Neshama of the Rishon. And that Neshama knows, which is obviously higher than Moshe Rabbeinu. And that Neshama knows who's Mashiach. And he is Tachat HaKitzah Kovid. Even the Medrash Rabbah, and Tachumon brings this down. I think mainly Rabbah, but I'm not sure about Tachumon, but I know for sure Rabbah. Vayi b'yom HaShemoneh, and it wasn't that day. Call Moshe Aaron on the volume. You called to Moshe Aaron to his son. On the Zikna Yisrael, to the elders of Yisrael. Vayomer and Aaron, he said to Aaron, Kach lecha, take for yourself. Egel ben boker lechatos, a calf from son of a kato lechatos to a chatos. Va'ayi lo'oilo temimim. Va'ak livnei Hashem. So an egel which is 1 month old for a chatos, and va'ayi lo'oilo temimim for Hashem. So the question is asked over here, why are we bringing a chatos? After the Yidden made them, what's the chatos for? So the answer is this is that the Mefarshim made this is the chatos of the sin of Chet HaEgel. When they made the Chet HaEgel, that's why that's why they have to take a calf. Why do they have to take a calf? Tibushat. So the Torah tells us to take a calf because Torah wants to teach us how much HaKadosh Baruch Hu loves us. So if you want to fix the mistake of Chet HaEgel, you have to, in order to take the clip of that very do and transform it into mitzvahs. So the question is, how can that be? So the answer is, it's very simple. Because you're doing shuvah. If you're not going to take the Aveira and do the mitzvah with the Aveira at the same time, Chas v'shalom, it means that you take the wrongdoing, the atonement, and you make yourself feel more kedusha to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You feel bad, so you're taking the thing that you did something wrong, and you're making sure that by you doing a mitzvah, that thing will transform into kedusha, because HaKadosh Baruch Hu is mind of positive. Not like Mekadrim who prosecute the Yidden by saying bad things about us. So we see from him here, the Malagavir, Mechol, Hallelujah. We see from here, to me, we should be complete. Hashem should bring before Hashem. And then it also says, and then Vashemen, Kihi Hayoim, and the word Shemen got the same Nakuda and the Shoyish as Shemen. Also, we got the word Mishnah to teach someone to be a ruler, a prince. And when we know that we are all princes of Hashem. And the Rishmi says, I think in Mishnah, in Mishnah Shabbos, Masechta Shabbos, that we are all princes of Hashem. That and that's the reality over here. So let me. Kol b'nei Yisrael malachim mehim. Mashiach put it while I was about to pause. I remembered the lashon. Kol b'nei Yisrael malachim mehim. We are all the b'nei Yisrael are princes of Hashem. Even though I, the regular son from Rebbe. So nevertheless, I have to be like one, do like one. So that's kol b'nei Yisrael malachim mehim. So the minor is Shemen. But then that's the introduction to it, and then also he talks about the different components, and that's why only in the end of the parsha we talked about the different laws of different parsha. But the question is, I've got to ask you a question. why are we talking about Northern Reveal here? Why is there separation between the mile of Kabbonis, of bringing of the Chappy of the Yeshiva Meloyim? And what's it got to do with the connection with Northern Reveal? And also, why do we need to learn about the kosher animal? Shouldn't that be before? We talk about Shminy, then we talk about the kosher animal, and then we go back. We know in the Torah, but if Pashas Vayikra talks about halachas, if we're already talking about the Kabbonis, we already dealt with Shimon and Meluim, why don't we read to tell us about the story after we know the Reveal at the end of the Parsha? By the way, what happened during the Shimon and Meluim, why don't we learn not the Reveal? That's the first question. And the second question is, what is it teaching us? That obviously, we have to, what the Torah teaching us about the lesson of Nodam Levi and Mesilas Nefesh that they had in order to give up the life for Kodesh Baruch Hu, and also why Aaron kept quiet, and what does it tell us? What is it teaching us? That Aaron Kohen, by keeping us quiet, in order for him also to know the law, only by him to know the laws of that you shouldn't drink wine in the Beis HaMikdash. That you shouldn't drink wine. You're allowed to drink wine in the Beis HaMikdash, but you shouldn't do that void of wine while you drink wine. And the Rashi brings from the Pshat of Rabbi Eliezer. Rabbi Eliezer, I believe. Machlokes with Rabbi Shmuel. The Rabbi Eliezer ben Huknes with Rabbi Shmuel Kohen Gadol, I believe. Machlokes in the Gemara, and we follow like Rabbi Eliezer, I think. So we see from here, we need to understand something very powerful lesson. And also, why does it say, when we're learning the Aliyah, especially the Chabad way, it says, Esheloi, Siva, Oisam. Why is it so powerful? Why is it so deep? They did the right thing. You could argue. They wanted to get closer to Hashem. Now the question is, was it done in the right way? The answer is no. So that's why they died. But to answer this question, I want to give you a mashal, I want to give you a parable to understand basically about the whole concept of this parsha based on the Medrash about the Levi Yosem. What is the Levi Yosem? And why the Alter Rebbe all of a sudden in his Mamorim Chazal bringing the Milo of about Tzadikim. Obviously the Alter explained it in Tanya that we're all about Sefer Beinonim. So why we're talking about Tzadikim? So I'm going to read the lines and then quickly explain to you what the Alter Rebbe said in the first size. Isa Medrash Rabbah, Pashas Shmiני, Periyun Gimel, Pashas Gimel. V'heimon Levi Yosem kani go l'shel tzadikim, lo selo v'chulu. V'heimon Levi Yosem kani v'koyel Levi Yosem k'sel meimon v'sem porom, v'lechoy chulu. V'loch kach tenina kol shachati v'kol shachati lo'oil v'shachati l'chot m'ingen k'tzir. Chol ha'chodesh ha'toyim ma'atzai teitzei. Chodesh ha'toyim ma'atzai teitzei. So l'smocha yato shchita zo yishchad Levi Yosem v'heimon v'sem porom. V'heimon Eino ze ino shoy ha'boy. Und da kommt das Kosten mit Tag und Jönes und mit Hille bis Samach. Nun, ein Posse bei Himmel, Kari 11 2, Bachule bei ein. Wasser, dann mit Dalet, Beis, mit Hey. Alle, weil hoffen, die kann die Geld so das was Shabo. In den Kisch bei Männer Sadikim. So basically the Alter is talking about the 2 mile of Sadikim, and the Alter explained the mile of Sadikim that all they do is that they do the void of beruchnis. That they do the Milo, or they do the Torah mitzvahs, and then there is a Milo of Tzadikim like Rashbi who will sit down in the cave alone. So the answer is, so the question is what's the Alter Rebbe teaching us? The Alter Rebbe also teaching us a very powerful lesson on Kolosal from my mother. There's 2 types of person. There is a person, unfortunately, when I was dealing with this case, and I still am. And I'm looking for people to fight for me for the case, to daven for Zam and Yom Melroche, that you're able to be successful against this company. And it's sad to see that the only person that had a very strong relationship with is this non-Jew. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu should bless him, and we see that he's definitely a Chatom Yisraelim. But the 2 Jewish guys plus the owner, HaKadosh Baruch Hu should bless them, and they should realize HaKadosh Baruch Hu should give them a punishment out of Avo. That they should know and realize who they're starting with, who they're playing around with. What happened on that Friday was not my fault. And I'll explain to you exactly what has happened so that way you will know that when I put out this video, you will know exactly what has happened. Basically, afterwards on that Thursday afternoon, I was minding my own business, doing what needs to be done after work, ready to go to a certain event, and I couldn't even enjoy it. I spoke with the bank and everything. Cut the story short. The next day I came back and I'm moist and nefesh. I woke up, I even slept with my clothes on. I didn't even finish my Rambam or anything. Maybe I did. I woke up in the morning after done my and everything. And I went home. And this was after when I woke up early in the morning and I missed davening and nets and it was really bad. So I got work to do. Let me go to work. I went to work. I said, you know what, maybe I'll deal with it. Also spoke with the bank about making an appointment, whatever. I came to work. Said, okay, it was a bit of bad mood. Did that effort, did what I could for 2 hours. Eventually it was too much for my side. Let me go to the bank. Let me go and daven and break. I went to the bank. Obviously this was the business time before Pesach. I went to the bank. As I came to the bank, what they should have done was they should have sent me to the financial difficulties. Not much better. They should have sent me to financial difficulties. Forget it. In the end, they decided, you know what? Do you know what they're gonna do? The guy tried to explain to him for the law, my Passover, I work so hard. Imagine you waking up early, 10 to 12 hours a day, and I was going to work, even including, and whatever. Cut the story short. Basically came and yeah. And afterwards, something bad happened. And I told the managers, I knew that's it, the job, I was going to lose the job. Okay. Afterwards, I decided to call the ambulance, call the police, came in. Cut the story short. I even emailed the owner, did the right thing by emailing the owner. And I tried to explain the situation. Even contact him the week before Pesach. Maybe speak with the manager, maybe understand. Nothing, clueless. I want to say this to you again. Unfortunately, there are Yidden today who don't respect the mile of Ahavas Yisrael. They think that their business is more important than the job. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu b'sadik b'goyim makayim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will punish them in such a way. This is how you treat a child to go through a life where his parents are having a hard challenge financially, dealing with a sick sister, dealing with a sick brother, daughter and a son, and another son. You don't know the person's life. I couldn't care less about your job. I couldn't care less about your business. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu with the Rebbe Melech Mashiach, with the Alte Rebbe, and with the other tzaddikim Shemayim, are calling them on and crying out. How can Yidden be like this? How can it be mindful that I'm with autism, with anxiety through challenge after challenge after challenge, and I still have the munah and still stay to him every day and try to learn, try to be a better Yid, even though Achman Islam have what's called a girlfriend, but that's not anybody's business. But I want to say, what this is not anybody's business. When I want to say this again, and I want to marry a Chabad God, for people to realize, for people to know. There are Yidden out there who are stingy. And that's why when people say, oh, Goyim are nothing, rubbish. I've been to things, I have got friends. I got friends on non-Jews. And they can be better behaved. They can have a better principle than a Haredi Yid, than a Yid who thinks that he's wearing a kippah, who thinks that he's Jewish, who thinks he understands that his business is more important. HaKadosh Baruch Hu will show this company Basar, the owner Stephen Grossman, and the manager David, and they will get phone. I want to public side the name, that if you've seen the person, I will send you the profile picture and every detail about them. They are disgusting, despicable human beings on earth. I don't know about the other guy, Jonathan. But I want to say this to you again. What they have done, I will not forget and I will not forgive. Like today of the Memorial Day of the Nazi Germany who murdered 6 million innocent Jews, including my family and yours. I will stand with Am Yisrael. Somebody walked out and said to me that I am support Zionists. Yes, I'm proud to support the Israel government that protects Medina Israel, that allowed you, that allowed the Charedim and allowed the chutzpah of the Charedim politician to ask for more money. I stand with Eretz Yisrael. I will do one and myself want to join the IDF, Israel Defense Force, the best army in the world, and also to join the army of Sivot Havayeh. But these people, there's others also, they will learn the lesson. Hashem HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Mido Keneged Mido. HaKadosh Baruch Hu have many ways, and I'm demanding for the 850 pounds that I'm wasting my time of going to a legal case. But I want you to know, that's what the mile of Pashas of Shmini teaching us. The mile of the HaKadosh Baruch Hu telling us that this is what the Alter explained for the Medrash Rabbah. It's a hint. It's a remez. What is the teacher? And that's what we can understand why we have the law of the laws of the kosher animal, the non kosher animal. The Torah tell us. He said, and we're gonna soon read. We're gonna read the mile of Lahav the Mekodim and Pasha Kedoshim Tiyel Kidoni and Hashem Amale Eschem Ed Messiah Yosh Lachem Lehim. I am HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I know who's holy. I know who's this and I don't know who's that. But for somebody to think that this is how he treats an autistic person in such a way, the job was making me healthy physically and mentally and physically. So the question is, what should I have done? So the answer is going back to the story, as I said before I got too emotional. They didn't fire me because I was doing bad. I had to go. And when I asked for the 850 pounds, they made as if that they don't need to pay me 850 pounds for the accommodation loss of work. But boy say, I will fight for the 850 pounds until I get it. I am not going to give up on it. And I want the public to know that this place, if they would have allowed me and understood the situation, understood what's going for unfair and give me the other chance, I would have worked hard. I was ready to tell myself there will be no more issue. I even said that to the manager. But now, after what they did and how they escalated to such a point, HaKadosh Baruch Hu understands each and every one of us in situation. So we see from it, there's two mile of tzaddikim. Sometimes you might think that tzaddik who sits and do Torah mitzvahs, who sits and able to do b'avodah som begashmi, to do the avodah begashmi by taking a lulav, by taking a shofar, by doing things Torah mitzvah. Said out to Rebbe, we have to reach to the mile of Rashbi, that even by learning the mitzvah, even by learning it, even by understanding it, that's the highest level of a tzaddik. And that's the joy. Who's the mile of Eliyason? Who's the mile of the tzaddik ben Nisto? When he did the mitzvahs, all of the mitzvahs because he hid in the cave. Even though he was persecuted by the Romans, he was still able to learn about the Hilchos Shofar. Most people, when they ran away, they would only learn and become a tzaddik. They're both tzaddikim. But you might think, like what the Litvak said, oh, you could only be a tzaddik in the base of Medrash, you could only be a tzaddik in this. What about the outside of the world? What about in the world, in the most desolate place, like in prison, or in the most lowest of the lowest of the lowest, where there are so many goyish things. So Yiddishkeit is only be kept in a shul. Yiddishkeit is only be kept in a shul. Yiddishkeit only be kept. What about wherever you go? We have to learn from the Milo of Rashbi to take the Torah mitzvahs and to do it not only inside of a base of Medrash, not only inside of a holy place, but to transform of the obviously it doesn't mean in this, but in any place that can provide the Kedusha, take it and utilize it, like what Rashbi did in the cave. Rashbi doesn't have to learn Torah, because the Gemara said that somebody who's running away, somebody who's doing this, doesn't have to eat potter from learning Torah. What did Rashbi tell him? Said, no, I want to take. And that's why he was able to learn the Penim, and that's why Elianovi came and told him the Penim is a Torah inside of the cave, because he had much nefesh for Torah. He was a tzaddik on a level that I will understand why we're here. What did our Avodah Chazik explain from the Mile, and the Rebbe explained from the Mile of Rashbi? That the Alter is saying, the Alter could have told the Mile of Shmini, the Mile of this, the Mile of that. He told this Mile to teach us a lesson. The Mile of Yosef to teach us the lesson that's hidden. The Orma Iskalio, the Orma Iskasio. So the Alter explained in the Mile of Shvius of Pesach. Why is Shvius of Pesach greater than the Mile of every single day that we are here? The Moida Ani said the Alter like this because the Ayam is the Orma is the Scalio of the Scal is the word of the Scasio. And the sea is the mile of Iscalio. Almost Iscalio, almost Discasio. And the Yabosha, the Olma Discasio, the Olma Gilayo, Zgalo, whatever the word is. So we need to understand one thing. The Olma Disaglio, the Olma Discasio, the Olma Disaglo, the Olma Discasio. The revelation of the world and the world of hidden. So Leviosan is hidden, the Olma Discasio, the Olma Discalio. But I want you to know and I want you to realize that what is better? When HaKadosh Baruch Hu sees us, they're both good. But what is the higher level of a tzaddik? That you might think that the two parts of tzaddikim, that the only part of tzaddikim is only in Yosef. And therefore HaKadosh Baruch Hu will tell you that also the mile of a shmi is the mile of a tzaddik. That they're both good, it's also a mile of a tzaddik which is higher, because you're taking the mitzvahs and you're doing it in a hidden way that want to get more closer to Hashem, and taking the physical world and transforming into Elokus. It's very good to sit and learn, but also very good to go ball at table, to go out of the table and to go this. So we need to understand. That's why we can understand why the mile of Nodam Avil. What was Nodam and Avil? Nodam and Avil was like the mile of what Shmi learned from. Nodam and Avil felt there was no tachlus to be in this world. Why? Because they wanted to connect to Hashem. So how in the way for them to connect to Hashem, for them to say to Hashem, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, let me take the Ketores and fire up, which they were allowed. And why did they? And why on earth did they not do it? Did they do it? What's going on? So Nodam Avil said to himself, he said, how can we reach a high level to HaKadosh Baruch Hu? He said, we don't know with tzaddikim. You know what we'll do? We'll take a wine, we'll get shikah, and with the wine that we have, we're saying to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you know our intention. We want to rather die in the holies of the holy than by the Oren. And while they were drunk, they went into the oil when only in Yom Kippur a Kohen Gadol can go into and do the Ketores. And they were drunk, and with that, they took a 5-pound Ketores and they bring them up for the fire, which will not come out to them. And the fire came out for them and consumed them, and they died before Hashem. They consumed them in Shema. So what can we learn from Nodam and Avil? And how can we take a lesson to us to reach the level that they can go straight into Gan Eden that we were not supposed to do? And what can we do to go up in the way level which is appropriate? What is the level? As I explained to you before about Elo Ve'elo Divanakim Chayim, about the Milo, a lot of things to learn about the mistake of our forefather, the Talmidim of Rabbi Kiva, the 24,000 Talmidim. Loyal and Covenant Torah Zelazeh. And I want you to next 7 weeks, I also in this week, in the week of Gavur, in the mid of Gavur. Last week we ended with the mid of Chesed. Think to yourself, how can I get closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu? How can I come closer? The answer is by learning Chassidus. If you want to understand the mile of who was Rashbi, you want to understand the higher level of a tzaddik. It's not enough just to learn Gemara. It's not enough just to learn a Mishnah, just to learn the Nigla Torah, which is also very good, but also to learn Yain Shatoya, to also learn the Penima Satoya, to also learn the Shemen of Torah, the Milo of Torah, the Milo of Torah of Chassidus, the Milo which connect to the 5 Petzufim of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. For you to understand what does it mean what does it mean to keep the mitzvah lulav, ulekach lochem b'yom harishon, peritz eitz ado kapoy tomorrow v'avinochal. What does that mean? V'avinochal, yeah. What does that mean? How can I be a better person to Hashem? And what can we learn from Pesach? That when it means to be free, it means that not to be the same as the past. That Am Yisrael Chai should increase the Torah mitzvahs, should increase in the Yiddishkeit, should increase in the avodas of Hashem, should do what or the Katan from Mishnah with other kabbalah demon va'ayit ave ois vavi nochal. to do what needs to be done by fulfilling the Torah and mitzvahs, to be the best you can be. And Rabbi said, without learning from the Mishnah from this and that the mile of the fire of Eish, which is the Eish of Chassidus, which is Penimas Torah, which is theory of Torah, able to learn, that when we learn Chassidus, able to understand the Gemara better, and the Mishnah better, and the Halachas better, which is Mayim, and Chesed, and Gavur. And that's how we're going to come to the mile of Tiferes, which is Iyah. Iyah is always into Tiferes. Why? To tell you that after we have the mile of Nisan, after the last 2 weeks of Nisan, the first week of the Pesach, and then the last week of Pesach, which is Nisan, the Chesed, and Gavur, will come to the fair, which will combine the Eish Mayim, combine Malach and Gaviel, and Mechol. And I bless you, each and every one of you. You shall have a greater Shabbos, a Shabbos of. And also we find, and also in the Chashach Protest, that in this Shabbos we read in Pekei Ovis. We read about, with Hillel Zokin, Oyev Shalom, Beroidev Shalom, and Mekovel HaTorah. Like also with Aaron HaKoyen. The Aaron HaKoyen ran after peace and after love. And he will be the Kohen Gadol, and Mashiach will come. And she is Zoicher, that we will see Geola Amita Vashlema. In Achenu Kol Beis Yisrael. And based on Midos Shlishi, and I hope that this question that I gave to the Torah will have answered all of my questions in such a way to combine also of this Torah, which it talks about David HaMelech. Why on earth are we talking about David HaMelech in this week Parsha, in this week of Torah? We're talking about the mile of the story with the Oren, with Uzzah, the Gemara said in Gemara Soita, I think Daf Mem Beis, or Daf Lamed Hey, Daf Lamed Hey in Gemara Soita. I explained what did he do was wrong. You know what he did? The Gemara said, you know what he did? He made his business over there by the Oren. Some say he actually touched the Oren, but it doesn't hold like today about whether did Ben Shem already happen, and there are 2 Litva Bochim, very well sweet Bochim, but unfortunately when they don't know the Chassidus, they think that they know the Gemara. And I want to tell you something. They have to learn over Chazon that Ben Shem never has happened. We follow the laws of Rashbi, even though the Rambam says, and I admire the Rambam very, very much, the Rambam, even Zichron Levocha, even he says that Ben Shem has happened, but we don't follow the opinion. But I want you to know something, that when we do what's right, we may think that what these managers, what they did was right according to most people, and was not right according to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Because had they dealt in such a way and find a solution, and obviously it was in a busy time, whatever, and not allow this to cause to happen, and how much it hurted me mentally and physically, and how much because all they could have done was just say, hey, Zalmi, take the £150, we understand, we feel very sorry, we see that you worked very hard, you were supposed to work, here, take it for the loss of work, or maybe give something in return. Now that they decided to give me nothing, I'm going to fight for that £150 of the loss of work. I was going to work an extra week if that didn't happen. The bank was already sorted out. So the argument is that they couldn't give. Why the bank gave? Who said the bank has a right? They think that they're wrong. They think that they're right. They're wrong. Because as an autistic person, as I've said before, that job kept me. And even then, it wasn't like I did really, really bad. I did very well. But Bez Hashem, I'm fine. Bez Hashem, I'm finding something else to do. And I want to say this to you again. To you all. HaKadosh Baruch Hu love you all. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu bless you that you should never be as stingy as these 3 people. But these 2 people. But I want you to know something. You should be able to do what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants. To do what's right in the eyes of Hashem. To spread Chassidim Vusam and Shechel Chutza to anybody you go. And everybody's going to learn Kimutesu Derech Hadosha. And that's what the author is playing the Milo of the V'liosim. That he will play. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu should be able to that this year I was able to Zoich again to pay to the son of Stibel £130. And I also pay for someone else, Mafti or Rov, £130, £260 to Tzedakah after my work in Basar. To say to Hashem, here's the money that I'm going to give to you. To provide people to learn Torah. To provide people to take out the Torah and share with others. Share the Divrei Torah. And I want you to share the Divrei Torah with other people as well. There's a lot to learn. There's a lot to learn in this world today. I may not be a Rebbe, but I can give my own Chidushim HaTorah. And also on the second day of Yom Tov, I was able to give a shir based on the Sikh of the Rebbe, of the mile of Sukkot, to compare the Sukkot to Shvish Pesach. Also with the Shana Rabbah and this and that. The neshama I have, the neshama of Agon, the neshama of the Alte Rebbe. I don't want to say this to you again, and this is all going to be revealed when Mashiach will come. The mind of Oya Gonons, which is my neshama. That's why the neshama that I have knows who's Mashiach, the Rebbe, Melech Mashiach, and I believe in Penimius. There's nobody else like the Rebbe. And if most of us deny it, who said that most of us are right? It's actually always the very few are always right. So somebody said to me, what about the Nituri Kata? The answer is, the Nituri Kata is the one that goes against the Torah. So how can they be right? We're talking about the few that goes through the Torah, like the Maccabim. So how can you compare the Nekuta Torah to the Maccabim? The Maccabim is that. Hashem that fought for Torah and fought for mitzvahs. The Nituri Kata doesn't care, don't even give a care about what's happening in what's called Palestine. They call legal occupation, whatever they call it. Eretz Yisrael belongs to us. HaKadosh Baruch Hu swore to us. Who cares what the government of Britain says? Who cares what the government of the rest of the world said? And HaKadosh Baruch Hu should be able to wipe out this government. Kistarman, to throw them out to the anti-Semitic. He's a Sultan Shem Kamoyu. He's a Russia. He's the next Hitler, the next dictator of our country. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu should get rid of him on Shonei Shel Yisrael. Him and his government and him, people in the parliament. And those MPs that stand for Eretz Yisrael should be blessed. And those who bless Eretz Yisrael should be blessed. Those who curse Eretz Yisrael should be cursed. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu should wipe out the threat of Iran, the leaders. And for the first time in history, hopefully we should see America with Iran, with the help of Hashem, with the help of the soldiers, to go and defeat our enemies, and to start a war, the war of Gog and Magog, that will lead to World War III, that will lead to the war of Elicheno Kamilatzeno, to lead Me'abakam Vitzoritz. As we know in the Parshas Sabim Mevochim, Mishosanisel Avisena V'Goloiso Me'adus Lecheros, Hu Yigal Yisona Mekove V'Yikam Elicheno Me'abakam Vitzoritz Chavem Kol Yisrael V'Noim Amen. And it should be a L'Sosin L'Simcha L'Shul and L'Choma. It should be like Palos V'Chalakol. It should be a Refuah Shalema. Because we have in the Pasha Aliyah Vayra Fiyecha. And that Posuk is actually in Parshas B'Shalach. And we find ourselves in Mako Yitin Rappa Yerapim. We follows up from that. But I wanted to say this again in Pasha Mishpotim. And also we find in Shoyt Yisrael Tosam Melech HaMelech. The mile of Amikul Sadikim Shemim Zoicha. To the goal of Samita Vashlema, Venicola Kavadavaye, Verocha Boss of Yachav Kibevaye Dabe. The Lo Yoreo Velo Shiso, Kemolo Ore Deus Hashem, Kamayim Layom Achasim. Shemim Zoicha, there will be no more war, no more jealous. Only togetherness, only Yachab and Anseach. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu should bless the Prime Minister of Israel and bless President Trump. And also bless his family and their family, also Kai Trump, Sayav Levin, and all of his family and their family. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu should bless each and every one of us to give us refuah shalema, to give us a refuah of Besurah Torah Yishuv and Chometz, to wipe out all of our enemies, within us, and win outside of us. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu should only see Nisim, Neflois, Gdole Levadoi. We should only have good news. We should only have simchas, v'aktoiv, shul b'ochos, only nachas from our kids, nachas from all of us, of our children. Shebezoicha, the golas hamitav ha'shlema, and Beis Hamikdash ha'shlishim ha'chenu kol Beis Yisrael, ma'Rebbe Melech Mashiach Madmo HaZoken, v'gam yesh l'chol echad ve'echad me'Yisrael, v'gam HaKadosh Baruch Hu yishlach, הגולה, נשלח בית המקדש השלישי עכשיו. מזויכה בירושלים עם הקודש. ותחזן עלינו בשבחו של מרחמים. וזויכה דגולה המיתות והשלמה. בגולה דדן, במהר ויומנו, אמן, סלו לחיים ולבוכו, הגות השבס, הגות רפואה, הגות החודש. בגולה, הרבי שהם able to be. ואומר ביום ההוא, יתוקע בשופר גודל. הנידוחים הם נסיים. There should be a loud cry. And Hashem will see that the nation of the world say to us, Zeh Keli Vanveil. And should be able to be that the Nevoah of Yeshaya and the Nevoah of this that we finally see. And also when Hashem said the Nevoah of Yechezkel, we see the Beis Hamikdash Shlishi to be taking place very soon, even before Yudal Iyah should have celebrated Yudal Iyah even today, even before Chodesh Iyah, as today is. Tonight is a very special day. Tonight is Chavches Nisan, when the Rebbe said, the Rebbe Koch, the Rebbe cried about, the Rebbe said, what can we do to bring Mashiach? What can we do to bring Mashiach to San Mosai? Not enough to San Mosai. It's enough that we should say to Hashem, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we should do what we can to bring the Gula Samita Vashlema. We should do what's necessary to bring the Gula to able to do what's right, we're able to get rid of the Kliyas Ruach HaTumah Avim and Ha'oretz. She'ein have to Kedusha, to able to have only goodness to each other, only kindness, to be kind to each other, to do what's needed to each other, to respect each other at Torah, our learning, and to focus on Avat Yisrael B'Pnimius, not Avat Yisrael B'Ruchnius, but Avat Yisrael B'Pnimius, to respect each other Torah, not just respect each other, which is coming to the mind. Hopefully we then can understand also to respect each other B'Gashmis. On the mind of Avos Chinam, they're able to, that this Tisha will be a Yom Tov. This Shiva Subetamus will be Yom Tov, L'chol Echad Ve'echad Mi'Yisrael. HaKadosh Baruch Hu should finally hear our tefillas, should finally answer, Yaneinu Hashem B'Koileinu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu should Yane Eschem, HaKadosh Baruch Hu should remember the cry, and say to Roch L'Meinu, Kol Mevako, Kol Mevako. Kol Rochem Mevako, Mini Kolech Mibechi. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu should do what needs to be done in order to do, but we have to do our part by telling HaKadosh Baruch Hu that we are ready. We showed that we are ready. That's what the HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives the man Golaschem. As we say every day, Yom Yom. Let Mashiach will come, and that's why even the Rebbe said Mashiach will come on the Shabbat, because then Novi will answer the question. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu should hear that. HaKadosh Baruch Hu should say to us, Yidden, now is the time of Geulos of Mashiach, as it said in the Yeriakot Shemiני. I will say, Anovim, Higia Zaman Golaschem. B'shor Shamelech HaMashiach B'bo. Oy made al goy. So Rabbi say, take it for yourself, that you should do whatever needs done. K'metzion tetutoyet v'ashem mishalayim. Bochad Hashem, Bochad Messiah Yosech Yishalayim Alaluka. To do whatever needs to be done. To do what needs to be done to work on your avoiders. Shebalev on avoiders. In this first ha'im of like yesterday was to perish the Begvur, and today should be the day, whatever it is. Sorry, today it was actually Netzach Begvur. To do what's necessary to be done, and it should be a minor of, because obviously this is voices on Sunday night, so Motzei Shabbat Malchus Begvur. And Friday night obviously is Friday night, because it's a Sunday night. So Friday night is Yesoid. Yeah, we're now Netzach Shebegvur, and tonight it should be the mile of Hoid Shebegvur, and then on Friday night is the mile of Yesoid Shebegvur, and on Motzei Shabbat Mabes is the mile of Malchus Shebegvur. Now we're in the middle of Gevurah, the victory of the strength, going into the beauty of the strength, going to the foundation of the strength, going to the royalty, which is Malchus, Midovet the Rebbe Melech HaMashiach, so Mizoichet to the Gula Mitzvah Shlema, and Bezach Mitzvah Shlishi, to work on your middles, to work on your Torah, to work on your Avat Yisrael, and Pnimius, even Bechitzonis also, but to do, Beruchnim the Gashmi, to do what's needs to be done, Hashem Lochem Ve'atum Tacharishon, to do what needs to be done in order to go and to end the Golos and bring Mashiach. Take him miyad mamosh alidei Mashiach Tzidkeinu and Beis Hamidos HaShlishi ve'atem tinktu l'chol echad ve'echad meYisrael b'mehei u'v'yameinu Amen. Selah.